USS Richard P. Leary DD-64 was a Fletcher-class destroyer which served in the US Navy during World War II. However, she would be handed over to Japan, where she would become JDS Yūgure of the Ariake-class destroyer and served there between 1959 and 1974. As a Fletcher-class destroyer, Leary was armed with 5-inch 38 caliber guns in 5 turrets, 10 40mm Bofors guns in 5 twin AA mounts, 10 torpedoes, 6 depth-charged throwers, and 2 depth-charged rails. She was capable of reaching 36 knots. During the war, Richard P. Leary would support landings at Peleliu, Leyte, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, and participated in the Battle of Surigao Strait. She also escorted damaged ships, rescued survivors, and shot down enemy planes. She escaped the war with no injury, despite her long combat duties. She was decommissioned in 1946. In 1959, USS Hugh L. Edwards DD-663 and USS Richard P. Leary DD-664 were launched to the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, where they would serve as JDS Ariake DD-183 and JDS Yūgure DD-184, respectively. Once in Japan, the torpedo launch tubes, the 20mm cannons, and one of the 5-inch guns were removed, and an auditorium was built, as both ships were used for training. In 1963, the ships were further modified. The need for guns and torpedoes was replaced with the need to detect and sink enemy submarines, and these ships were converted for further anti-submarine warfare. In the case of Yūgure, she would get 2 Mark 37 Mod 1 ASW torpedoes. These were wire-guided and were considered excellent against submarines. The main mast was replaced with a tripod, and the SG, SR, and Mark 1222 radars were replaced with OPS-1, OPS-15, and SPG-34 radars, in addition with a bigger CIC. They kept the 2 depth-charged rails and 6 depth-charged throwers. 2 of the twin Bofors 40mm AA mounts were replaced with 2 Hedgehog Mark 15 Anti Submarine Warfare rocket launchers. These could fire in an 85-meter circle pattern, 200 meters in front of the ship, and took 18 seconds to sink to 60 meters. The advantage of these rockets over the depth charges was they could be fired while the attacking ship still had a sonar contact with the target. They would explode on contact and sink faster than depth charges, meaning an unsuccessful attack could be followed up faster, and the performance of sonars and CIC were not affected. The difference with Ariake was a further second 5-inch gun was removed, and in its place there was a Mark 108 rocket launcher, which could fire 12 rockets per minute at ranges between 229 and 892 meters. The time fuse could be set with the sonar system. In 1969, their long period was extended from 10 to 15 years. During their service, they participated in support missions as flagships. In 1974, they were returned to the US, and in 1976, they were sold for scrap. In War Thunder, JDS Yūgure was added to the game as part of the Future Technology crafting event, and I have some mixed feelings about the ship. On one side, I think it's an interesting addition to the Japanese tech tree, being a fast ship with fast-firing guns and very effective against planes. On the other hand, there are so many Japanese destroyers to be added, and adding an American one feels out of place. However, since it's an event vehicle, it's fine with me, as long as more destroyers are added in the future to the regular tech tree. Despite having one less main gun, no 20mm cannons and no torpedoes, the ship is quite overpowered, especially when facing reserve destroyers and PT boats. At time of recording, this ship is at battle rating 4.0. Yūgure is worse than Fletcher destroyers, which sit at 4.3, but way better than Farragut, which sit at 4.0. This is not Yūgure's fault, but a symptom of the current PR compression in-game. For more information on how OP it is, you can check the video by Flipped Stack about it. Despite being introduced in an event called Future Technology, the version currently in-game is in its training configuration, prior to the 1963 modernization, meaning it has the old mast, the old radars, doesn't have the Mark 37 ASW torpedoes, nor the Mark 15 Hedgehogs. With the exception of the removal of 2 AA mounts, gameplay-wise, all this would be useless as long as there are no submarines in-game. However, the ship would be visually different to a regular Fletcher-class destroyer, and it would feel less like a copy-paste vehicle. To conclude, the current destroyer JDS Yūgure we have in-game is a great ship, but it could be better looking. Hopefully we will get the 1963 modernization if we get submarines eventually in the game. Thank you all for watching.